Shalom Chavarim, Shalom friends. Today I want to talk to you about God's great purpose in our lives. You know, Yeshua taught us that we are to be his followers, his disciples. Yeshua is not looking simply for believers, he's looking for followers and disciples. And the great goal of being a follower or disciple is to be like Yeshua in every aspect of our life. And this is what's revealed to us in Romans chapter 8, verse 29. For those God foreknew, he also predestined to be conformed to the likeness of his Son. So when we think of our walk with Yeshua, we need strong foundations if we're going to build a strong house. You know, if you build a good house in the physical, you need a strong foundation. If you have a weak foundation, the house is going to have a lot of problems. This is a foundational understanding that I believe God wants all of us as disciples of Yeshua to have, so that we understand that in every circumstance of life, whether we have difficult circumstances, pleasant and successful circumstances, whether our prayers get immediately answered the way we desire, or whether they don't get answered at all, or we have to wait for a long time. Whatever we are going through in life, God's great purpose is to make us more like Yeshua. And, you know, I just read to you Romans 8:29, but I want to go back one verse to a very popular verse, and I want Romans 8:29 to shed light on verse 28 of Romans 8. Romans 8:28 says, "And we know that in all things God works for good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose." You and I are those who love him and are called according to his purpose. But we must understand that God's greatest good in every circumstance, the greatest good that he's working in every circumstance, is to make us more like Yeshua. Now, he may be working all kinds of other good through different circumstances, but sometimes the only good that you can count on is that in some circumstances, the only good that you can count on is that God is working to make us more like Yeshua. And I've concluded that God is seeking to make us more like Yeshua in every single way, in our relationship with the Father, in our love for people, which is the great commandments, to love God with all of our heart, soul, mind, and strength, and to love our neighbor as ourselves. God is seeking to make us more like Yeshua in faith. You know, Yeshua said, "I only do what I see my Father doing," and we could see that he surrendered his whole life to the Father, and he trusted the Father completely. And God wants to make our faith more like Yeshua's. God wants to make us more like Yeshua in character, in holiness. God wants to develop godly character in us, and he wants us to separate from sin and to live a holy life. God wants to make us more like Yeshua in purpose. And when we think of Yeshua's great purpose, what is that? He left heaven in order to bring salvation and wholeness to the Jewish people and to people of every nation under heaven. And God wants to make us more like Yeshua in our ability to follow the leading of the Ruach HaKodesh and be obedient to his word. So I want to encourage you. Remember, in every circumstance that you face in this life, God is working his ultimate good. He is working to make you more like Yeshua. I pray that in every circumstance you have his grace to embrace his wonderful work to make us more like Yeshua. And you are going to be powerful followers of him as you bring his light and love into this dark world. Shalom, shalom.